Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, it's blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Chase Down Podcast on Almighty Baller Radio. I'm Justin Rowan with my co-host Carter Rodriguez. Carter, how are you doing today?
Our pets' heads are falling off.
They truly, truly are. Everything's fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, this thing is not broken.
It's still salvageable. Like, the Kyrie and LeBron can put water under the bridge, and yeah, this is fine.
If we know anything, we know that LeBron is not sensitive at all, so we should be good.
No, he doesn't take things too seriously.
No, he doesn't. So, for those who are unaffiliated, which, I mean, it's got to be 0% of our podcast listeners, of the 7 or 8 of them that exist in the first place, a video came out on Instagram of Steph Curry making fun of LeBron's Instagram routine.
His workout routine.
His workout routine.
We can all admit that it's over the top.
We all know is funny. Like, I mean, there's the LeBron James challenge or whatever. They've got the people that were like trying to sync up their actions exactly to him. So it's definitely funny. But they were at a wedding. Kyrie Irving was there. Kyrie Irving thought it was pretty funny, which has ruined social media for the day. Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's... Okay, so the video and the impression is funny. It's I did a little post on Fear the Sword about the video and all that, but in it I said it's nice to see the Warriors actually go from balloon parties with drones and other corny shit to actually a good, funny impression. Like, there's always going to be this back and forth between the Cavs and Warriors, and at least they're getting a little creative with it. It's a bad look for Kyrie, though.
It's like, such a bad look. Ugh.
If I was there and I was drunk, I'd also be laughing at it.
Of
but
course.
You have to have more awareness than that. I also don't have personal beef with LeBron. Like
that's the thing, is like, I tweeted this as well, but if Richard Jefferson is in this video at like Kent Bazemore's wedding from earlier this year where he and Curry were like talking shit, no one is talking about it, and if anything, it's just like, haha, they're poking fun at LeBron. But like this, it's like if me and you had like a big blow up, like like we had a big fight and we were not talking, and I was just publicly making fun of you. It's not a good look. It's like
if I started strutting around in checkered shirts.
Okay. It's the white man's uniform.
It is. You millennial hipster, you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, sorry, I live in a city, so there's a lot of police activity.
What? There's a siren going off in Chicago?
I live on the north side, so it's probably just like an old lady that fell over. But yeah, so I don't understand why anyone's takeaway from that video is like, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Like, that's not what you do when there's already like a strained relationship, and like all the reporting indicates that there is a strained relationship. I don't think I'm projecting there.
No, I mean, the situation, it's not serious. Like, the video's not a big deal. But
on an island, it's not a problem at all.
It's not a big deal if you live in reality and you realize this situation was already beyond repair and Kyrie is on his way out the door. If for whatever reason you thought this is...
Though. I don't agree with that. I think that you still should be gracious on the way out the door.
Oh, no. I'm saying...
Oh, in terms of like repairing the relationship.
Right.
Okay.
If you thought there was a chance that this is going to be fixed, you have to flush out any notion of that at this point.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just a bummer. Like, you didn't want... I just kind of wanted that 2016 team to be preserved in amber, you know, like just like perfect and unspoiled. and that's not what happened. We have, kind of an ugly breakup going on right now, and there's going to be there's going to be battle lines drawn. There's going to be sides taken. There's going to be booing.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be booing when he comes back.
And I think we should discuss that because when he gets booed, Cleveland is going to get raked over the coals by
for sure
everyone else.
Well, because people love criticizing Cleveland for doing things that every fan base would do.
Yeah, well, we made overreacting to an athlete leaving popular, so I get it. I get it, but at the same time, like, you're kind of like, I don't know what like woke Twitter wants fans to do necessarily. Do they just like want them not to care? I guess
they don't want.
I guess
woke
that's
Twitter's
fine.
Woke Twitter's perfect utopia for the NBA is nobody goes to games, or if they go to games, they just politely golf clap for plays from each team. They have no emotional investment in the fan or in the players at all.
I think they want you to be invested in the players. I think they don't want you to be invested in the teams.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think they just want you to root for everyone to be as happy as they can be. Like, which is weird. I don't know. Like, it's just like they challenge like the kind of paradigm that sports is built on, which is like you're a fan of this team. Like, and like if you're a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't understand why you're supposed to be just thrilled that a player forced his way off a championship team, making your favorite team worse, and then burn bridges on the way out the door. Like, people are gonna be bummed out, and they're not gonna root for that guy to succeed when he comes back. Like, I'm not saying that the relationship won't be fixed down the line. Like, he's getting his jersey retired in Cleveland. There's literally no doubt about this. And
that whole starting lineup might.
Yeah, like, I mean, they retired Nate Thurman's number, and he averaged like 3 rebounds and 2 points a game in Cleveland. Like, Cleveland historically has retired players that or retired jerseys for players that were there for like big moments in franchise history or defined eras. And Kyrie certainly defined an era, and he was certainly there for the biggest moment in franchise history. So this will be repaired eventually, but in the short term, it's going to be a little, people are going to be upset. And I just think it's
like,
I'm
bummed out.
Yeah,
I'm bummed out, and I think that's fine. Like,
and I don't think I should have to root for him to beat the Cavs. Like, I think I'm allowed to boo when he comes back. Like, I mean, I'm not going to boo anyway because I don't really boo. It's not really my thing. But I don't really care if a player on an opposing team gets booed. Sure, why not? Like,
I just had a mental image of you sitting in front of your TV in Chicago with your checkered shirt and avocado toast, booing.
Yeah, not really my thing. It's just like, I don't know. I just think it's going to be really frustrating because, and then like the people who will defend booing him are going to be the worst. Like, I have a term I like to use, which is called the Rondo assist. It's when someone tries to jump in an argument that you're in on your behalf, and they just end up making it easier for your opponent to win. I call it a Rondo assist because it looks like it's helping the offense, but it's really not. And like, I'm going to get a lot of Rondo assists that day, and it's going to be really frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
both sides of the argument are just going to be exhausting.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I just think
we should be allowed to be disappointed that our favorite team is probably going to get worse as a result of a player selfishly wanting to go to a different situation. Like, as I wrote, I understand the motivations, but it's still a selfish decision, and it's still going to hurt the team. Like, that bums me the hell out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think, like, woke Twitter's frustrating, which is not news. But, like
we haven't all evolved past the point of being a fan yet.
Yeah.
Give us time.
Yeah. Oh, I've already seen some Warriors fans talk about how Kyrie's video wasn't that bad, and if you're like freaking out about it, you need a hobby or something. And I'm like, did you guys see how you reacted to every Russ pettiness on social media?
And Russ didn't even leave the team.
Yeah, and
I mean, I can't stand Russ, so I'm not going to be a full hypocrite.
It's not about defending Russ. It's about you can't attack Russ all year and freak out to every bit of pettiness he throws out there, and then be like, Kyrie's just being a guy with his friends, you know?
It'd be really funny to see Draymond end up on another team and just, like, kick Steph in the dick one time. And just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, they would turn on him in an instant. And it's like, and I just think people need to understand that this isn't as simple as Kyrie Irving. People will frame it as Kyrie Irving wanted to do a thing, so he did it. So he shouldn't be, Cavs fans should still be grateful. But, like, Justin, I'd like to say we've had a pretty good friendship over the course of our time. We've had a pretty good run on this podcast. We've done nearly 30 episodes.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you start being a huge dick to me, I'm allowed to be not happy with you anymore. Like, I don't owe you happiness I don't, like, owe you positivity till you die. Like, I don't understand this idea, like, oh, Kyrie hit the biggest shot in, like, Cavs history. He's immune to criticism. And it's like, no, he's like, you. The
can best thing is the people the people that say that also criticize him 100% of the time.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know, man. It's weird and frustrating, and it's going to get so blown out of proportion. And I just think that, he's not making his case any easier. Like, he's definitely burning bridges with stuff like this. Now, like, ultimately on an island, is it pretty minor? Well, sure, of course it is. He's laughing at a pretty objectively funny joke, but you have to look at the bigger picture here. And, like, as I said, like, even at work, if I've got beef with someone and I'm caught making fun of them or laughing at someone making fun of them,
there's going to be repercussions.
Yeah, it looks bad. It makes me look bad. It makes me look petty, and that happens at workplaces all the time, and it's an issue. This is another workplace issue. So. It probably doesn't ultimately mean anything. It's just more fuel for an already it's like ripping the Band-Aid off even harder. Like, it's like,
can I just say this is like the ultimate end of July NBA topic.
Story. Yep.
Like, we've spent 12 minutes on like a 15-second video. Yeah. Oh,
and discussing it with deadly seriousness.
We're covering all angles here.
Yeah, we
thorough investigation.
We are the 24-hour news cycle of, like, we're like when CNN first came out and people were like, oh, it's news 24 hours a day, and then, like, we start doing, like, these horrible things that CNN has to do to, like, function at 24 hours a day because there's not really enough news for 24 hours a day. Like. So, like, this is us. This is like, oh, we'll have a Cavs podcast. It'll be great. We'll just talk about the Cavs. And that leads to 12 minutes of analysis for a fucking Instagram video.
Well, I guess the other major thing that happened in the past week was the press conference, right? With Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, that was great.
There was a lot to digest there.
Well, it was weird. There was a lot to digest, but there also was nothing to digest. It was like It was like a Hostess treat. Like, it's just empty calories. There's no nutrients in there, but there was a lot to digest.
Gilbert was fully combative. Like, he was ready to go to war, and when he said that he had learned about the Kyrie news through the media the same time as everybody else, well, I just about collapsed out of my desk.
Yeah, it was so weird because he did kind of like hedge it, like with like, I read about it with everyone else. Like, I read the report with everyone else while also acknowledging he'd had the meeting. Like, it's just really weird, like, because he obviously didn't want to, like, straight up deny that he had made the request because it was just too obvious at this point. But he did want to pretend like he was denying it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how about the death knell for every relationship that's ever happened is this thing is not broken.
Yeah.
We can fix this. Come on, hon.
We're taking a break.
You can change. Yeah, this thing is not broken.
I'm going to work on myself for a little while.
Yeah, this thing is not broken is immediately followed within a week by we need to take a break. About 97% of the time. Like 3% of relationships survive after this thing is not broken.
And typically shortly after that discussion, there's an Instagram post or there's a Snapchat video of one of the parties out with another man or another woman. as Kyrie was with Steph.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah.
It's obvious at this point that they were in full damage control. So it's this weird thing where the reporting coming out about Kobe Altman is fairly positive, right?
Yeah. He's a
Woj
smart
is
guy.
saying that he seems poised and is kind of a relaxed figure. Not like doesn't appear desperate at all to get a deal done, which is probably a good message to be sending. You have Lowe discussing that he's been studying 20 years of superstar trades to try to figure out the best return to get and, the way to negotiate it, which I think is...
Hint, it's not Paul George.
It's not, yeah. No kidding. And so we have, some evidence that this guy is at least, a diligent worker and fairly well liked around the league. But he also was the third in command, so that's not good. He got the job by default. Not good. Some of his offseason moves.
Well, according to Dan, he never really even made an offer to Chauncey. It was all casual discussions.
Yeah, what an absurd lie.
They were holding on.
Does he think that people just make up price points? Does he think people like the
Cavs were sitting there quietly for 3-4 weeks waiting because of casual discussions?
Yeah. Joe Varden is sitting here getting Joe Varden was the first on the money, which I feel bad because the low ball report came out way later, and Varden had already kind of gotten in the ballpark of $2 to $3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think does Dan Gilbert think Joe Varden just came up with that number? No, someone told him and he checked it, and then another person said, "Yep, that sounds right," and he reported it. This isn't complicated. Is that not the fake newsiest? You couldn't go more Trump than he went on that. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, he could, because he also backhanded Indiana could have gotten a better deal. What professional?
I made the best deal.
Yeah, God, it's so And there are some people on Twitter what? They didn't get a good deal. I was that's not how professionals work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make fun of your competitors.
Also,
in a
I did
cartel
appreciate
that relationships are super important.
One thing that was actually real that came out of this, the Woj report that Indiana actually would have went through on the deal if the Cavs would have gave up an unprotected first in the future, or at least less protections, and that would have been on their 2021 pick. And thank God they didn't do that. As much as I wanted that deal to be done, they had already outbid what OKC put forward, and giving up that pick without protections when you don't know what the future with LeBron is. Not only whether or not he stays in Cleveland, because I'm not convinced he's leaving or anything like that, but he's also have so much mileage on his body. We do not know what shape he's going to be in by 2021.
Yeah.
There's just way too much unknown.
Yeah, I agree. It's really kind of crazy to imagine that there's a world in which the Cavs left this offseason with Jimmy Butler and Paul George.
Ugh. Or you mean right?
No, and because you could have flipped Kyrie for Jimmy.
You think so?
100%.
What would Kyrie's motivation? See, this is the
Kyrie
thing. Even with the
need motivation.
No, but is Chicago going to make that trade if Kyrie doesn't commit after the 2 years? I think that's a holdup with Phoenix, because as much as we like to think that that's only for players with a year left on their deal, 2 years is still a gamble, and I still think you can make a stink as a player about that. If you're Phoenix, I'd be nervous about that.
I'd rather take a crack at 2 years of Kyrie than Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine off an ACL injury, and Lauri Markkanen.
But this is also Garpax.
Sure. I'm just saying Kyrie probably trumps those guys in an offer.
I would agree so.
So, I obviously, woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I'm sorry, I'm being really scatterbrained right now. But can we talk about the fit for Phoenix. Because if I'm Phoenix, I'm not like that thrilled about a Kyrie Devin Booker pairing. I know like beggars can't be choosers.
No,
and they don't have
it would
any
not
stars,
be good.
But the fit doesn't really make sense to me.
Phoenix should still like just kind of focus on sucking and accumulating assets. Like I don't think they're not in the Denver position. They're not at a point where, okay, let's cash in some of our young assets and then we're going to have a good core that can do stuff. That's not a playoff team if they trade for Kyrie.
No, they're not. I don't understand. I mean, that's what has been confusing to me because they've always just made more sense as a third team getting young assets back in like an Eric Bledsoe dump. Like them getting off like Eric Bledsoe and Tyson Chandler's money in exchange for like a couple first rounders or a couple like young good young pieces. They don't make sense to me as a buyer. And that was even their stated plan. Like one of the reasons the Nuggets got such a favorable deal with Millsap on a player or a team option on the third year, or maybe it was unguaranteed third year, one of the two. One of the reasons they got such a favorable deal there was because Phoenix just pulled out of the bidding all of a sudden, and we're just like, you know what, we're just going to go young.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really understand.
That's what they should do.
Yeah, I don't really understand the fit there with Kyrie. I don't really understand how he and Booker would play together. It's just a weird mesh, and I think Denver makes a lot of sense for Kyrie as a team that wants to buy. Obviously, I think New York still makes the most sense in terms of
I agree.
A Kyrie fit. Because he and Zinger make sense together. Obviously, the Pelicans are another one. I just don't think the Cavs want Boogie for Kyrie straight up, so I don't think that'll do it.
Yeah, I think Boogie, all of a sudden, you're trading one player that doesn't want to be with LeBron for another.
Yeah, and a guy who can leave right with him. So
yeah.
I just think that the Knicks make sense. The Nuggets make sense, even though I think that the Jokic-Kyrie thing could be a little bit of a tug of war in terms of, the battle for the soul of the offense. But I think that the timeline at least lines up better. Phoenix, I don't understand why they're... I wouldn't include... I get why they don't want to include Josh Jackson in the deal. And
yeah. I mean, it would need to include Josh Jackson for it to be a fair and good offer. But yeah, I understand... based off their situation and based off the fact that they're nowhere near competing, being a buyer, as you said, makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, so it's really weird. We know that Miami has offered their less than inspiring package of Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow for Kyrie. I mean, that doesn't really do anything for me.
No.
If they...
I mean, Dragic is okay, and I mean, he'd clearly be a huge improvement from Rose. Yeah. But I'm just not a huge Winslow guy. Yeah, I think he's going to be a nice player, but I don't see that as kind of the centerpiece of a Kyrie trade, especially because he doesn't really help the Cavs now, and he's an awkward fit.
I feel like that's the kind of offer you keep in your back pocket, where you just say, "All right, thank you for your time. We'll keep you in mind," and you wait and try to find something way better.
I also feel like there's no way Riley would ever do a trade with the Cavs.
I think he'll do a trade where he wins, which he wins that trade.
I feel like there would be something else that he would have to put in. I don't know.
Maybe, do you ask for Bam? I don't know if that's enough, even though he had a nice summer league. And he doesn't really solve any problems for the Cavs.
Twitter, if any of them listen to this, are going to be really mad at you.
Yeah,
they like their Bam.
Yeah, they love him, and I get why. I thought he looked really nice in summer league. It's just like he's a rookie that's going to take a little bit of time.
Rookies suck, man.
I think if you ask for Josh Richardson, that helps a little. Get off Shump's money, that helps a little. But I don't know. They can't trade a first until 2023 because Pat Riley doesn't care about the future of his team because he's going to retire in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they ruined their future flexibility so he could chase the 7 seed. I hate Pat Riley. So I just think that they don't really have enough to get there. But it kind of all depends on what kind of offers are getting placed. Like the Woj report kind of discussed how there was kind of a battle of expectations where Kobe Altman wants kind of what the Nuggets got for Melo, and everyone else is like, we'll give you a little bit better than what the Pacers got for Paul George.
Right.
And like someone's going to have to bridge that gap, and we'll see if Kyrie is a good enough player to create a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if we're expecting a Denver-esque return, we're going to be disappointed just because that's now a famous overpay.
Yeah.
For a player who didn't want to stay. Like, we know that now. And I think teams are going to be loath to do so. Now, I think this is kind of where Altman's legacy is going to be defined really early, right? Is what he gets for Kyrie in a adverse situation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think my expectations are that high at the moment. Like,
do you?
I think we're generally going to be disappointed with the return that we get.
If the best offer on the table is Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, and let's say Josh Richardson or Wayne Ellington,
mm-hmm.
Do you start the season with Kyrie on your team?
Oh my God, I don't think you can.
I think you can. Maybe I'm crazy. I think you can. Like this
God,
team
would that be funny though?
This team is miserable all the time, anyways. Like they're like it's the moodiest team in history. Like they have played through worse discontent than this. Damn it!
How much would you pay if Kyrie was on the team at the start of the year? How much would you pay for like Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye to wear like body cams?
Oh man. Yep. By the way, can we the Richard Jefferson stuff on his podcast? Kind of crazy how he kind of went after LeBron on a LeBron-owned podcast.
Yeah. Like Jefferson, I mean,
give a fuck meter.
He really 0. Doesn't give a fuck.
Which is crazy.
I mean, what did we expect that the players don't like see all of this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, they get it.
Yeah, it's like if anyone's ever worked at like an unstable workplace, it's not fun. It's frustrating, and you feel helpless.
Like, I don't think there's a problem with admitting that there's a lot of stuff that isn't desirable that comes with LeBron. But at the same time, it's worth it because, hey, we just won a championship and went to 3 straight finals.
Yep, and going to finals is so much more fun than not going to finals.
Like, in my opinion, LeBron's the best player of all time. And that justifies a lot of the stuff that comes with him. And let's not act like there wasn't a lot of crap that comes with Michael Jordan as well. When you are this obsessed with being great, and when you reach that level, you have to have some weird in you.
Yep.
Like, no healthy, normal, balanced human being gets to be that good.
Yep. It's part of, and the ones that are, more balanced are the ones that are just easier to control. Like LeBron doesn't want to be controlled. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to be Tim Duncan and be under the thumb of someone. And that doesn't mean Tim Duncan's not amazing or a really good guy, but he clearly bought into what someone else's idea of a team should be, right?
Right.
LeBron wants to be the guy who defines what his team should be.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with either approach. It just kind of is based on who you're wired to be. You're either, I'm running shit, I'm a control freak, I'm the defining person here, or you're, Duncan's had an amazing career and is really, really well loved, but also, Pop gets a lot of credit in that organization. I don't think LeBron James is really too interested in splitting the bill, so to speak.
No, that would be really interesting to just see how that kind of all would work out. Do you ever just get the impression that Pop, I'm not saying Pop would ever say no to LeBron on his team, but it would be a very disinterested pitch.
Yeah, it'd be really jarring to imagine Pop clearing cap room and organizing ways to get LeBron in. I think it would bother him to some extent. Like, because
He's
LeBron
just so different than Riley.
Yeah. It's just two very different basketball ethoses. And no, we're not saying that Pop wouldn't want LeBron. No, we're not saying the Spurs wouldn't be good if they had LeBron. But it would just be an interesting dynamic we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Because LeBron chafed under Riley, who really isn't that much of a meddler.
No, he's not.
Like, Riley's just like a good GM for the most part. And LeBron was still like, no, I'm not part of your mafia. I'm my own mafia. Thanks, Pat.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, the Cavs are dysfunctional enough that he can still run a lot of it.
He does whatever he wants for the most part. And, like, I wonder how much of this offseason has just been Gilbert. I almost called him Dilbert.
Dilbert.
Like, pushing back against the lack of control he feels within his own organization. Who knows? I mean, this is going to be something where I guess Windhorst and McMenamin better get started.
I was about to say the next
book
book is going to be it's
lit.
going to be amazing.
Except no one's going to buy it because the Cavs will be irrelevant in 2 years.
Oh God. Even fewer people are going to listen to this podcast.
Yep, our numbers are going to really dwindle because they don't listen because they like us.
No, God no. I mean, it's basically only Damon.
Yeah, thank God for Damon, man. Once again, Damon, we need your address so we can send you a fruit basket, or perhaps flowers. Hell, maybe even
or just have him on the podcast. Not like that's actually a gift, but
yeah, that's not a gift. That's a bummer.
That's a chore. But let's wrap this chore up. As we said, this is definitely a late July podcast. Not a ton going on, but I'm sure the situation is going to change fairly soon. Gut feeling says that they're going to find some sort of way to get this Kyrie situation resolved because it's just going to get uglier and uglier.
Incidentally, my gut feeling is that it will not get resolved soon.
It is the Cavs. But it is the Cavs. This is the Chase Down. To all our listeners, thank you as always. Remember that you can leave a review and subscribe. Even a rating. It all helps. It helps support the podcast. So we appreciate all of that. And as always, go Cavs.